Will Joe Biden be really impeached? Yes, if you have been following this channel, we know that McCarthy had made a motion to impeach Joe Biden. The question is, how likely is that to happen? What evidence is there against Joe Biden? Or what actions of Joe Biden qualify for impeachment? These are the things that we cover in today's video. And towards the end, I'm going to explain to you guys why is a crypto channel talking about this. So please stay tuned to the end. Without any further ado, let's go into the video. A few days ago, I made a video talking about a motion that McCarthy did trying to impeach Joe Biden. And the question is, how likely is for the impeachment to occur? And what are some of the accusations? This is what I'm going to be covering on today's video with you guys. And I want to divide this video in a roadmap of 3 steps. First, we're going to look at the accusations against Hunter Biden, which is the son of Joe Biden. And that is the link that makes possible accusations towards the corruption of Joe Biden. Now, we're going to be looking at the evidence and we're going to be asking ourselves if Joe Biden, the father, was aware or not of Hunter Biden's actions, if he was aware or if he was even involved in those actions. And then we're going to be looking at what is required for the impeachment to be approved and how likely is that to happen. So let's go into this. So the accusations are pretty much against Biden's son, Hunter Biden. And of course, the accusation is because he has some suspicious activities or suspicious money on his account. It starts with Hunter Biden being engaged in suspicious financial activity in multiple countries, not just one country. And some of those countries include China and Ukraine. And this is a picture of Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Now, the thing is, the accusations against him are relevant because what happened is he has had an income between 2014 and 2019 over $8 million. This is close to $2 million per year, or at least more than $1.5 million per year, $8.3 million in just 5 years. And the thing is, he has drug addiction problems, he's a drug addict, and he doesn't have any discernible qualities. And these are not my words, these words are the words of Ben Shapiro, and I'm going to be playing to you guys the footage, a little bit of the footage of Ben Shapiro's view on this whole thing. Now, Hunter Biden has also pled guilty to some misdemeanor charges a few months ago or earlier this year. But the thing is, as you guys can see, there are some more serious charges such as felony, gun tax violation, and violating the FARA, which were not pursued. Some serious accusations were not pursued. And the question is why those more serious charges were not pursued, especially the one from FARA. If you do not know FARA, you can just read here, Foreign Agents Registration Act. Now the question is, if those serious charges were not pursued, the question is why? Is because maybe his father is a president or because of the lawyer Merrick Garland? It could be because of the Attorney General Merrick Garland's potential influence trying to protect Joe Biden's son. Now, the thing is, Joe Biden was also the vice president of the United States of America, and he took some trips with his son. And the question is, was Hunter freelancing under his father's name without sharing the earnings with Joe? Because as we saw, he have earned over $8 million in 5 years. Now, this is the question that is being asked. And despite evidence showing that Joe Biden may have knowledge and has been even present in some meetings of his sons with those like suspicious financial activities, Joe Biden persists in denying any knowledge. And of course, according to Ben Shapiro and a few others, they see this as Joe Biden clearly lying. Now, what is the evidence that they're using to accuse Joe Biden of lying? What evidence does it prove that he knew of his son's activity? And here I want to play for you a little footage of Ben Shapiro's view and evidence that he shared with this. And by the way, most of the content of this video was inspired by this video of Ben Shapiro.
And for a second. So in 2013, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, this is NBC News reporting, Hunter Biden joined Joe Biden on a trip to China via Air Force Two. A quote, with granddaughter Finnegan in tow, the Biden men sipped tea in a Confucian-style tea house, leafed through books at local shops, and treated themselves to mid-afternoon ice cream. But almost 6 years later, Biden's trip to Beijing is coming under scrutiny amid revelations about Donald Trump's efforts to dig up information to corroborate his corruption allegations regarding Biden. So, says one of the NBC News reporters, he was with Joe Biden, apparently, during this trip. He was one of 4 reporters who traveled aboard Air Force Two with Biden and his son to China, a visit that was sandwiched between stops in Japan and South Korea. When we got on the plane on a bright Sunday afternoon at Joint Base Andrews, the Bidens were already on board, having just flown in from a family Thanksgiving gathering in Nantucket. What wasn't known then was that as he accompanied his father to China, Hunter Biden was forming a Chinese private equity fund that Associates said at the time was planning to raise big money, including from China. Hunter Biden has acknowledged meeting with Jonathan Lee, a Chinese banker and his partner in the fund during the trip, although his spokesman said it was just a social visit. The Chinese business license that brought the new fund into existence was issued by Shanghai authorities 10 days after the trip, with Hunter Biden a member of the board. So, again, think about those dates. We're now talking about 2013. Joe Biden brings Hunter Biden along with him on Air Force Two. 10 days later, Hunter Biden closes a round of funding from a Chinese business person. All Chinese business people at the top level are functionaries of the Chinese Communist government. Did they cut that deal with Hunter Biden because he is such an excellent business person? Of course not.
So this is Ben Shapiro's view, and I'm not going to play the whole thing to you guys, but I'll leave the link below in case you want to watch this whole video. Now, I'm going to share with you guys a few things that Ben Shapiro talked about in that video. And we have here an email from Vadim Pozharsky. I think I'm mispronouncing this name, butchering his name. But the thing is, he's a board of Burisma, an Ukrainian gas company. Look at the message. Dear Hunter, which is the son of Biden, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving me an opportunity to meet your father, Joe Biden. And of course, we spent some time together. It was really an honor and pleasure. Very innocent message so far. As we spoke yesterday evening, would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I would come to your office somewhere around noon or so before my way to the airport. Best, V. And of course, this V is for Vadim Pozharsky, an advisor of the board Burisma, an Ukrainian gas company. Now, apparently also there is a laptop which was found abandoned or forgotten on October 2020, which belongs to Hunter Biden. And of course, this laptop contains evidence which is controversial or pretty much put Joe Biden, the president, on a spot. You can see here, the laptop shows Joe Biden attend meetings between Hunter and his Mexican business partner. Let's look at the Mexican deal. So here we have it. According to the New York Post, but evidence abounds on Hunter's abandoned laptop of Joe's involvement, the president, Joe Biden. For instance, Joe invited Hunter, foreign associates, to breakfast meetings at his vice presidential residence, which means the father, Joe Biden, inviting the associates of his son to meet him at his vice presidential residency. I think this is very compelling evidence. And of course, to his office in the White House. The laptop shows that. Also, he took his son on Air Force Two to countries where Hunter was doing deals, and on at least one occasion included one of Hunter's business partners on the trip. So he was not only taking his son on Air Force Two, he, his son, and one of his son's associates were on Air Force Two, the airplane for the vice president. Now, according to New York Post and this laptop, among more than 100 events is scheduled in Hunter's diary at the vice president's residence. So he was using his father, vice president residence in Washington to meet with his associates, and his father claimed that he had no knowledge of this. I'll let you decide what you think of that. Now, here we have another thing. Cooper and Hunter had been working on energy deals in Mexico and elsewhere in Latin America. A 2013 email from Cooper demonstrates their high expectation in association with the Aleman dynasty. Look at this message. Miguel wants us to go to Mexico City, he wrote to Hunter on February 26. This is setting up to be a flipping gigantic brother. Now, at the time, the president Enrique Peña Nieto was reforming Mexico energy market to allow private capital investment and a state-owned oil and gas monopoly. So, and Biden says this is going to be a flipping gigantic brother. Now, according to this article, Cooper's association with the Bidens began in 2005 when he started filing multi-million-dollar lawsuits in Delaware in association with Joe's late son, Bill Biden firm Biferato. Now, this is some of the evidence that they have. And look at this picture. The vice president, Joe Biden, in the center. He meets with Mexican billionaires Carlos Slim left and Miguel Aleman Velasco. So the message and the picture, at least to me, it feels like there is some ground for accusation here. At least that's my view. What is your view? And we have more messages of the Biden's clan involvement in the project in China, supplying millions of tons of liquid natural gas, LNG, from Louisiana to a Chinese company, CEFC Energy. Now look at this. What happens here? On May 13, 2017, Hunter business partner James Gilliard said on an email that 10% of the equity in the CEFC a Chinese state-backed company venture would be kept in equity by Hunter Age for the big guy. Now the question is, who is the big guy? Now, both Gilliard and another Biden business partner, Tony Bobulinski, have said that the big guy is a way to refer to Joe Biden. Are they saying the truth? I do not know. What are your thoughts? Please let me know in the comments below. We have more. Joe Biden is the person referred as the big guy who would receive 10% of equity, as we saw on the previous message. Now look at this. At the moment, there is a provisional agreement that the equity will be distributed as follows. 20% to Age, which is Hunter Biden, and 10% to be held by Age for the big guy. Now some speculate that the big guy may be Joe Biden. Is it? Let's see. Now, it may not be, but look at this message. First, the son, Hunter Biden, warned a Chinese business associate in a 2017 text message that Dad, Joe, and his political allies would make certain that he would regret by not following his direction, which means Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, is saying, if you do not do this, my father, Joe Biden, and his political associates will make sure that you regret this. Now, on July 30th, 2017, on WhatsApp, look at this. I am sitting here with my father, and he would like to understand why the commitment made was not being fulfilled. What commitment? Maybe the 10%. Now, he also says here, I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. This is what Hunter has written. And it seems to be all innocent, but look what happened later, according to Fox News. A bank account linked to the president's son, Hunter Biden, received more than $5 million on August 2017. Now, the message was by the end of July. It says here, July 30th and August on the same year. Look what happens. A bank account linked to the President Biden's son, Hunter Biden, received more than $5 million very shortly after the threatening messages, sitting here with his father. So whenever he sent that message, short after that, money appeared mysteriously on Hunter Biden's account, over $5 million. And those transactions came in two transactions totaling $5.1 million, which came within 10 days from the time of the messaging. Now, to me, at least seeing this, it seems like Joe Biden may be in trouble. And it's not the only one. We can say here, Mail Online talks about that too, that the president's financial filings reveal that he declared almost 7 million more income tax returns than he did on his government transparency reports. That is according to an analyst by dailymail.com. Some of that difference can be accounted for the salaries earned by the First Lady, Jill Biden, and other sums not required on his report. But still, that leaves $5.2 million earned by Joe Biden company not listed on his transparency reports. Amazing, because there's a 5.1 million coming and there is a difference of 5.2 million that Joe Biden did not reveal. So I think this evidence is, at least as I see it here, seems to be problematic for Biden. Now, another message which is a bit more concerning is this one. There's a message where Hunter says that his father is asking him or demand from him 50% of his earnings. Look at this. That's Hunter writing. I hope you all can do that. I did, and I paid for everything for this entire family for 30 years. Hunter Biden growls to his daughter Naomi in January 2019. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, the father Biden, I won't make you give me half your salary. Pop, of course, referring to Joe Biden, as we mentioned here. Now, another thing that has happened, this accusation also came with a debate with Donald Trump. Listen to this.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter. Yeah, Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. He wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. Once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various other places.
True.
He made a fortune.
My son.
And he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions?
All right, but he wasn't given tens of millions. That is totally discredited. You've already been totally discredited.
So he's denying that his son has made tens of millions of dollars, but you see here, maybe not tens of millions, but at least $8 million, which is close to 10 million. So Donald Trump got the numbers wrong, but the facts correct. Now, this article on Politico suggests that Joe Biden may be more worried about his son or his own safety. And here we have the president himself privately told confidants that he was proud of his son for taking responsibility for his actions. We actually heard some of that on the video, according to people familiar with the conversations, even as his team expects the political attacks to only intensify, political attacks on Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Now, the article also says here, several people close to the elder Biden portrayed him as having been deeply anxious for months about his son's legal fortunes and frustrated at the slow pace of the investigation. Biden had repeatedly barked to confidants that he could not understand why his son was being made to twist in the wind for 5 years. Now, Biden also called his son very often to check him how he's doing nearly every day, and then he says he has no idea of what his son is doing. So Joe claimed that he was deeply involved in every aspect of Hunter's life, yet he insists he knew nothing about the business dealing. And of course, that is some of the accusations that is causing McCarthy to move with the impeachment. Now, to me, that's not all. To me, what is happening is Biden as a president is pushing or using his power to make sure that Donald Trump gets in trouble. Now, Donald Trump is a Republican. McCarthy is a Republican. So McCarthy, of course, is gonna push back. I think this is the Republican Party pushing back on Joe Biden's trying to diminish or hurt Donald Trump's image. Now, the question is, will the impeachment be approved? And of course, even though this evidence seems to be very compelling, at least in my view, some people think that the evidence is only speculative. I agree with that. It was going to take a lot more than just this to impeach Joe Biden. But in order to have the impeachment approved, McCarthy needs 218 votes from Congress, which is not a problem because in the House of Representatives in Congress, Republicans have 222 Republicans, and they only need 218 votes. So I would say if it depends solely on the Congress, yes, here is very plausible. So that was the amount of votes on the Congress. But on the Senate, he needs 2/3 of the votes. And as you can see here, there are 51 Democrats on the Senate and 49 Republicans, which means that on the Senate, the majority is on the side of Biden, which are the Democrats. So they need an 18 extra votes. They need to take 18 votes from the Democrats and convert them into the Republicans. So it's very possible that the votes may not be obtained, of course, because 67 are needed. So I don't think the impeachment will be realized, will happen, but I think it will hurt the image of Joe Biden. So with this, let's have a little recap. We talk about the accusations against Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden. We also talk about evidence that Joe Biden not only knew, but also received some money, possibly allegedly received some money or benefit from the financial success of his son. And also we talk about how likely is the impeachment to be approved. And as you can see, because of the lack of votes, it's not likely to happen. Now, if you are here, it's because you want to know why is a crypto channel talking about the impeachment and giving this evidence or possible evidence to you guys. And the reason is very simple. If Joe Biden gets impeached, which I think is not going to happen, as you guys could see in the video, but it will be hard for Joe Biden to be reelected. If he does not get reelected, that means Donald Trump or another candidate will be reelected. And if a Republican candidate gets reelected, Ukraine may not be receiving their funds for the war, or the war in Ukraine will end sooner than most people expected, because in my view, Ukraine cannot fight it alone. And if the war is over, that is good news for the crypto space, that's good news for the market, because less conflict, less disruption means less expenses from the government in war, and the possibilities of energy flowing and fertilizers flowing, food prices will come down, the cost of energy may come down, and we may have a bull market sooner. As long as the war is there, I see very difficult for inflation to come down, therefore hikes to come down, and we enter a bull market. So if you are a crypto enthusiast and you have investment on crypto and you like for the bull market to begin sooner, I think, in my view, that the bull market will come if there is no war between Russia and Ukraine, and we have now less sanctions, or at least more flow of energy commodities, grains and fertilizers from Ukraine. I hope this makes sense to you guys. Now, those are my thoughts. Now, what are your thoughts? Please let me know on the comments below. If you did like this video, please subscribe, click the notification bell so you'll be notified as soon as we make our next video. That's it for now. See you guys in the next video.